Well, welcome to the Christy Jones Show, where it's all about living your life to the fullest. I'm a life coach, speaker, and business owner in multifamily real estate, and I've had wild success in multifamily housing for over 25 years now. I am so passionate about helping others merge their success and lead a fulfilling life, and I bring it all together right here on this podcast. So join me and let's get started to live your life to the fullest. Well, hello, my friend. Welcome back to this week on the podcast. And I'm really excited to share this story with you because it happened very recently, like a week ago. And I think it's something that you can relate to and apply into your own life. So I'm going to tell you about a hiking adventure that my friend and I went on and in San Diego, and had not been in this neck of the woods before on this trail. So although, yes, I mean, I live part-time in San Diego, but I had not been in this particular area on these trails. So it was an adventure for both of us. So I want to take you on that journey a little bit. And I want to share with you some observations, some things I learned about walking, about hiking. And I want to share that with you here today. First of all, let me start by saying walking, in my opinion, is such a great way to move your body every day. Walking, it's easy. You get to pick the pace that you walk at. A walk can be very slow and almost, you can have meditative walks. You can take walking to where like it's almost a jog. Have you ever done that? It's tough. You can take walking into the hills and incline. So going on a walk can look like so many different things. You can package that up in a lot of ways. Walking, even if you're on the coast and able to walk on a beach and walk barefoot, the grounding benefits that you get from your feet on the sand is phenomenal. And just grounding in general, anytime you can walk on the earth, on grass, on the natural substance, that's a very grounding practice. If you have never heard of that before, I really encourage you to Google that and research it and look into like a grounding practice of your feet on the earth's surface. It's really, really healing, really great for your nervous system. All right, so let me talk to you about walking. And so first of all, tons of health benefits for walking. Yes, it's a great way to manage your weight. It's a great way to keep your body moving. It's something we can do at every age. And so it's a great way to stay fit, right? It's something good to have in your weekly routine. Maybe you walk every day, maybe you walk a few times a week. It just has so many benefits to it. So having a routine of walking is going to serve you at every age, at every age. In fact, complete side note, this just popped into my brain. I also live in Norman, Oklahoma, part-time. And there is a woman in the neighborhood, and actually her husband, good friend of ours and used to work for our company back there. And so all the years they lived in the same neighborhood as we did, I've always seen her walking. Now, I think probably she was in her 60s, maybe when I first knew her, and she walked every day, out in the neighborhood. I want to say she is 88, maybe 89, walks every single day. Her husband has since passed away, but that woman is hoofing it around the neighborhood. When I'm there, I see her generally doing her morning walk, and she tries to do an early evening walk. I forget one time I asked her, I think it does 3 miles a day. So a mile and a half in the morning and a mile and a half at the end of the day. Let me tell you that when you see her walking in the neighborhood, you find out that she's 88, 89, you're like, no freaking way. Are you kidding me? It's amazing. So I'm just sharing that as an example. We can walk at every stage of our life. But I do believe, once you start giving that up, like once we stop moving our body, it responds. And our bodies love movement. So keep that in mind. Okay, so walking is a great way to challenge our bodies, to stay fit. But there's so many mental benefits too, right? You go for a walk, you clear your head. I used to, like, in the middle of my workday, all through the years, when my work was like, my work days were super intense. I was in that mindset back then of that whole grinding mode. And I would just have to get outside and go for like a 10-minute walk to decompress, to kind of reset, to change my perspective on something. So walking is such a great way to clear your mind. All right, so let me tell you about this hike that we did. And like I said, it was in San Diego, never had gone to this area before to hike, which I highly recommend. I think it's good to have like regular walks that you do and areas that are, maybe it's your neighborhood, or maybe like with me living on the beach, it's real easy. I just go outside and take a quick walk on the beach. But that's more routine, like you're familiar with your surroundings. I want to share with you the benefits of going and walking somewhere that is completely new to you, because it just kind of heightens your senses a little bit, and there's a lot of benefit to that. Okay, so a few things I want to share, and I'm laughing because this hike ended up with a really interesting twist to it at the end. If you follow me on social media, then you saw what happened at the end of the day and what we saw and what we were faced with. And it's terrifying. It was way out of my comfort zone, way out of my comfort zone. I'm going to cover that at the end of the podcast. Okay. So we go, thank goodness I have a friend that loves to do adventurous things as much as I do, that at a moment's notice, like, you don't have to plan, you need a friend like that. Like, make sure you've got a friend like that you can go, hey, do you want to go? We almost went parasailing. Is that what it's called? I don't know. It's in the cliffs in La Jolla, Torrey Pines area. And you go, you strap on with a instructor, and then jump off the cliff. They've got a parachute, and want to do that so bad. But she's up for that. We couldn't because it was too windy. I think that was the day we had high winds that day. Anyway, so get you a friend that like says yes to life. It's so fun. So anyways, I'm like, okay, so then new plan. We'd already done a bunch of stuff. So we're like, let's go hiking. Let's go down here. I had seen some things on Instagram of this area, and it looked so cool. It had rivers and waterfalls, and we've had a ton of rain here in San Diego. So I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to go there. So we get in the car, we drive there, we go. And I plugged in my GPS. I thought we went to the right trail, beginning of the trail of what I had seen on Instagram that had all the cool water stuff and the waterfalls and all the things. I thought that's where we parked. So we get out of the car, and, we had our water jugs, and we're not like professional hikers. We both work out a lot and we're fit, but like being a trail master, not so much. But we go on hikes when we go travel places. We love to do that. I'm just saying that we don't look like we don't have the walking sticks. I don't have the water backpack. I don't have I had on something cute. I don't have on like hiking clothes. What I see as hiking clothes, like, I just don't think they're that cute. And I'm just saying it like it is. I mean, there's just certain things I'm like, I want to look cute, I want the clothes to look cute. I don't care if I'm hiking and I'm the only person that I'm not gonna see another soul when I'm on the mountain. I want to look cute. So we ran into some real hikers, and we didn't, that's a real hiker. Like, they have all the gear. And so we park, we get going, and it was a really challenging hike, which we loved. Tons of like really steep, I won't call them mountains, because the mountains you have to go, further away, but really steep hills. And I want to say I think that the trail guide, because I have that app on my phone, All Trails, and if you like to hike, All Trails is great. I think it was 8,000 acre park. So there's come to find out, there's 5 different places you can start at for this area, because it's huge. And I didn't know that. Neither of us really, we just went, oh, here's the beginning. So we get out, we start hiking. We see a few people, but generally, when I've gone to hike in the San Diego area, especially on weekends, there's a lot of people. Like, you're going to run into other people. And we didn't really run into that many people. The people we did run into, they were what I call like real hikers. I mean, there were couple people, I would say, like us that were, you know, not professionals at hiking and without all the gear, but a lot of them definitely, like, this was something they do. They're like, they got all the bells and whistles. They're dressed for it. They are prepared for like all environments. And so we take off and we get like, we were maybe an hour and a half into the trails, up these big hills, down, the rocks, and, really having to pay attention to your footing because it's really easy to slip when you have that little gravelly, pebbly type of surface. And then we end up on the very peak on the top, and you can overlook, we could see, the Miramar, we could see the planes coming in. I mean, it was such a cool view. So cool. But I realized we're not, where's the waterfalls? Like, I just thought we're going to go down this trail. It said to hike about an hour and a half in, and then you're going to hit the water. Well, we were at the top of a mountain. We weren't seeing water. So of course we get the trails map out. Well, the phone service isn't very good. So none of the stuff's loading, all the things. So, it was interesting. It was a good challenge. We did get lost. We were basically technically lost at one point, not sure. At that point, we realized there were many, like I said, 5 different starting points to this mountainous area. And we had not picked the right one to get to the waterfall. That was pretty clear. But then the challenge was there were so many different, we were in this space where it basically branched off into 3 routes. And we quickly realized we weren't sure which one to take to even get back to our starting point to which the car would be at. And so I remember at one point I said, look, if we just get to a main street, we're Ubering to the car. Like, I don't care. We'll figure that out. And so that was kind of funny. So thank God for Uber, right? Well, we ended up not doing that, but that was a game plan at one point. So eventually a man comes, experienced hiker, all the things, and a mountain bike. And we ask, key point thing, we ask for help and advice of where to get back. And I had shown him a picture of like, this is where we parked, because I took a photo of where we started. And he calmly replied, he looked at our water, looked at our water things, and he goes, well, based on the limited supply of water that you have, I would really suggest that you go this way. And then when you get to the next fork, I think he said to take a right. And so we were like, thank you so much. We so appreciate it. He was really helpful. And we followed his direction. And eventually we made our way off of that trail and back to the car. So key thing is, we saw someone that looked like they would know how to get us back to the starting point. And we asked. We're not going to sit there and act like we know what we're doing. We knew, we're not really sure. We're in probably a little deeper right now, bit off more than we can chew. How about that? That's a good way to say it. So we asked him, and he was super nice and got us and gave us pretty good directions. At least we could figure that out to get to back to the main point. So then we get in the car, we regroup, we go back. I look at the notes that this other hiker had left about this trail and realized that we had not followed his directions. We just followed Google Maps. And so then we got in the car and we drove all the way around to the other side of the mountain and found the right beginning spot. And once we got on that trail, then we hiked, and sure enough, about an hour and a half, 2 hours in, ran into the waterfall, all the things, saw the river. It was super cool. It was the hike that we originally thought we were going to see. Because I looked up this particular hiker, and he does a lot of YouTube videos, and The first hike, I'm like, this is not looking like the YouTube video. We are on a dirt trail and we're in the middle of freaking nowhere. And where's the waterfall? So attempt number 2, we got it right. We got to the waterfalls, we got to the cliffs, all the cool things, the rivers. I mean, it was literally amazing. One of the coolest hikes I've done in San Diego. So glad that we, continued, didn't give up. We spent, let's see, we started hiking that day at like 10:30. And we did take like an hour, ate a sandwich in between, hike number 1 and hike number 2. And we kind of refueled, um, and had packed our lunch and everything. But we started at 10:30 and we left. We were done with hike number 2. I think it was 3:30, 3:34 in the afternoon. So it was a full day. Like we covered, we covered so much, so many trails. But so that's the story. There was the interesting thing at the end that I'm going to tell you in a second because um, it's like it's always good when something unexpected happens because you learn so much about yourself. So before I tell you that, let me recap why I am promoting walking as such a great practice for you to have and do on a regular basis. Well, like the first story I told you, it's a great way to stay fit. And you can take walking at whatever pace you want to do. And then you can do like meditation walks and you can do mindfulness practices when you walk, or you can do a full on fitness walk and like just all hills all the way, just grinding it out, building up a sweat. I mean, there's such a wide range of how you can do your walks. But the first example I gave of the woman in the neighborhood that's like 88, 89, I think she's 89 now. And she's been walking like forever and a day. She's never stopped. She's never stopped. So your body likes movement. Movement keeps our body fluid. It keeps it, feeling good. And so walking is one of the best ways you can keep your body well and your mind well. But she's such an inspiration because she doesn't use she doesn't have to use a cane. She doesn't have to use a walker. She doesn't have to use anything. She just gets out there and she's just, pumping those arms and getting with it. And it's so inspiring. So don't stop. Do not stop walking. Get yourself moving. I hope when I'm 88, 89, I always talk, I'm living to 100 and something because I just know it. I just know it. So I hope that I am still, might be at a different pace. That's okay. But I'm going to be moving. I'm going to be walking. I know that. So don't stop. Keep walking. Let the story I shared about her, let that inspire you. Like she's getting up. I'm sure she doesn't feel freaking amazing every day, but she told me, I just walk. I just get out and I'm like, I'm going to do my lap around the neighborhood. And if I feel like I can do more, I'm going to do more, but I'm at least going to do that. So let that inspire you. Like we got to get rid of the excuses, folks. We really do. We really, really, really do. Okay, so and walking, another benefit, the mental space that it gives you. I talked about mindfulness and you can do meditative walks. So when the mental space that walking gives me, it helps bring clarity. So if you're feeling like just really clouded in your thoughts, if there's any area you're wanting to get more clarity on, go for a walk. Put on your shoes, get out the door. Now, if you can walk outside, I will say that's like so much better than walking on a treadmill. But walking on a treadmill, if the weather's bad or you're just not in an area that you can walk, maybe you're traveling and you can only go to the hotel gym, do that. Do that. That's better than not doing it at all. If you're walking outside, pay attention to your surroundings and pay attention to your breath. Really, in those moments when, especially if it's more of a meditative walk or a mindfulness practice, pay attention to your breath. Pay attention to your body and the breathing in and the breathing out. If you're able to focus in on your breath, that's gonna really the connection that happens between mind body when you focus in on your breath, that is what takes that into more of a mental practice of mindfulness. So pay attention to your breathing, especially if you're on one of those slower paced walks. And so if you're walking outside, one of the benefits is to pay attention to your surroundings. Because if you're walking, let's say, like when I'm in Norman, Oklahoma, I walk around the lake and I walk around the lake and I have this, a lot of the same routes that I go. It's very familiar. It is outside, but it is very familiar. So generally, the things that I'm seeing are not new and fresh. Like I saw them the day before and the day before that and the day before that. One of the benefits of going for a hike or going for a walk in an area that's new to you, like the one I just described that my friend and I did, one of the benefits is that all new surroundings. So what all the firing off in your brain that's going on, because all the new sensations, all the new visual stimulus, the sights, the smells, the textures, the plants around you, the surface you're walking on. You go from, maybe pavement to dirt to rocks to climbing rocks to then going through shrubs and, all of that. So so your brain is like, it's working in a whole different way. Your body is paying attention to your surroundings in an entirely different way than when it does when you walk in a real familiar surrounding. So it's really good to put yourself on a walk, on a hike, in an area that you're not used to, and really take in your surroundings. Pay attention to your surroundings. And I always say tap into your senses. Like, what do you smell? What do you see? What do you hear? What can you touch? Like, have you ever wanted to do that? Like, you see a plant and you're like, oh, what is that? Is that rough? Is it prickly? Like, and if it's poison ivy and you're allergic to poison ivy, that's not good. Sorry. But you get what I'm saying? Like, there was the river and the waterfall. I wanted to touch the water. I wanted to know, like, how cold is this water coming out? So tune into your senses. Okay. Last thing I'm going to talk about is when we went on this hike, or when you go on a walk and you get out there and you explore, especially if it's in an area that is new and you're having to really pay attention to your surroundings and there's so much new stimulus going on for you. It is basically putting you out of your comfort zone. And also, if things happen on your walk that that you weren't expecting, you get to learn a little bit of something about yourself. And so it's always good to put yourself in a scenario where you don't really know what's going to happen for the day. Really, honestly, we do that every day, right? We don't know what's going to transpire from now till the time we go to sleep today. But when you're on a hike, like my friend and I, we were on that hike in San Diego, the second hike, not the first hike. The first hike, we got lost. Now that was also a good challenge because I thought was interesting and what it reminded me about myself is I knew we didn't exactly know how to get back, but at the same time, we were both really confident that we would figure it out. There was never like fear, panic, anything like that. We just knew at that point, like, we got to focus in. This is not just like a leisurely hike, like, oh, we're having fun. We got to like dial in a little bit, got to like put our mental resources together and really, think this through before we go decide which path we're going to go down, because that could get us another hour in the wrong direction. So it really was great to see how we came together, and there was no power struggle. We just like, let's immediately like, okay. And, got our game plan of what are we going to do? And we always knew that there was a solution. Like, we knew we were going to figure this out. So the other unexpected thing that happened was on hike number 2, the one where we got to go see the waterfalls. And so we go to see the waterfalls and all that's super cool. We're on the way back and we know we're pretty close because we hiked one way in on this hike was pretty predictable because we hiked one way in. There's only one way in to the falls and then one way back. And so on our way back, we passed a guy and he said, "Hey, ladies, just so you know, there's a couple rattlesnakes ahead on the path." And so, and I'm thinking, we already saw one little snake that was in the river, but little as in, if you're watching me on YouTube, I'm showing you. It's, I don't know, it's maybe 12 inches long and maybe as big around as my baby finger, if you can see my baby finger. Not big, but still, I don't want it on me. Like, I'm not getting in the river. Like, no, thank you. Snake is not going to touch my body, but it didn't freak me out. I was like, oh my gosh, that's weird. Little snake. Goodbye. But then he said 2 rattlesnakes, and I'm like, okay. And I don't think I've ever seen a rattlesnake in person, obviously at the zoo, okay, which is where I prefer to see them. Well, I don't even really like to go see them at the zoo, quite honestly. I've never been like, "Oh, let's go look at the reptiles." Um, I'm more like, "Where's the koala bears? Where's the little cutie animals?" But anyways, total side note. So anyways, he shows us, and then he pulls out his phone and he shows us a video. And I was like, damn, I didn't say that, but I was like, damn, those are big snakes. Probably, probably like he zoomed in on them. They're probably not that big. And I bet by the time we get there, they're going to be gone. That's like what I was telling myself. Snakes aren't going to just hang out on a dirt trail. Like they're going to just go about their business. Well, and then we get there and there was probably, I don't know, maybe around 10 people because they're in the middle of the trail. And now obviously it's been going on for a while. There's about 10 people backed up. So it's kind of nice that we had other people. But yeah, the two huge rattlesnakes. If you follow me on social, you saw, I think they're still there. I think I put them on my feed, on the recap of the day. I have like 5 or 6 pictures. 2 rattlesnakes, big rattlesnakes. And then experienced hiker that was in front of us informs us that those 2 snakes are mating. And that's how they mate. And it can take, TMI, but it takes a long time. Like, snakes hang out apparently for maybe a couple hours. There's a whole nother podcast, right? Oh my gosh. So anyways, here we are with about 10 other people staring at 2 snakes that are mating. And I just want them, can you just go over where the grass is? Like, this is our only way out. Can you just scoot over? Because at this point, I'm done. I'm ready. I'm done. We've been hiking all day. I don't want to see a snake. I don't want to touch a snake. I definitely don't want to die from a snake. So anyways, we wait because everybody else is waiting, and the more experienced hiker people, they're, respecting the space. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to follow their lead. But then finally, it appeared to be a pausing moment, if you know what I mean, for the snakes. So then my friend and I, like this one couple, you could kind of like go up into the grass and kind of make a little like hop, skip, jump, like to the left and get by quickly. So then my friend and I were like, okay. And then I remember I said, okay, are we ready? We got to go fast. And so she went first and I went behind her, and I was just like, oh my good. I mean, I didn't want to run because definitely didn't want to fall. I didn't want to be that person that trips over the rock, falls, gets bit by the rattlesnake. And then you hear about me on the news, the lady that died with the rattlesnake bite because she fell down running from the snake, and then they bit her in the neck and then she died. I didn't want to be that person. So I walked briskly and carefully and kind of hopped over the one boulder rock thing, and we got by. And then everyone, just kind of, then it was like, okay, everybody followed suit. We were all just kind of following each other. And everyone's like, okay, let's get out of here. Only a couple people wanted to stay and watch for whatever reason. But I would say most, which, you know what, I probably couldn't be friends with them anyways in real life, because I'm not going to stay and hang out and watch snakes really on any given day. So, but to each their own. So you just, enjoy the rest of the day watching the rattlesnakes, and I'm going to go ahead and get back to the car. Anyways, what was really cool about that when we were driving home was talking about those two unexpected things that came up. One, semi getting lost, and two, the rattlesnakes, and how we approached it and how we handled it and how we just kind of navigated around it. And it's really, so it teaches you a lot about yourself. You notice things like the snakes, honestly, scared me. I was like, hey, respect the snakes. Like, this is their territory. I'm just trying to, don't mind me. I'm just trying to get to my car. I just want to go home. Like, I'm not trying, like, this is your area, not mine, that type of deal. But I was still like, okay, what's happening? What's going to happen? Are there more snakes? Are they in the grass? Are they watching us? Like, what's going to go down? So it's really interesting when you are put in situations that you weren't expecting and that you're uncomfortable in, and then how you end up navigating those. So when you go on a walk or on a hike and you're in an unfamiliar territory, there's going to be so many things that you learn, especially if you pay attention to your surroundings. So I wanted this conversation to, one, motivate you to get up and at 'em and get to walking. And if you already have a walking practice, then see what else you can add to that. Do you always walk really fast at a workout? But maybe explore what it's like to do a meditation walk. Maybe explore what it's like to focus on your breath work when you walk. And if you're already doing those things, maybe it's time for you to look into walking and, going on a challenging hike, going in an area that you're not familiar with. Take a friend. Take a friend. But go for those type of walks. Go explore. Go see something you haven't seen before. I just really wanted this episode um, to be about walking and moving your body in a way that we can do for the longevity of our life. We can do that for so many years if we want to. But we've got to stay diligent at it. We've got to put some effort into it, and you can have some fun with it too. All right, my friend, thank you so much for being here this week. I enjoyed this little storytelling episode. And yeah, then now I don't really care for snakes, really rattlesnakes for sure. All right, go make the rest of your day great, and I'll see you next week. Take care. I just want to thank you for tuning in today to the podcast, and I hope you've enjoyed the conversation and all the info that's been shared today. And I hope you've come away with a few ideas on how to make the most out of it for your life. If you loved this episode, be sure to share it with your friends and family. And also make sure you subscribe to the podcast and tap that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Also, it would mean the absolute world to me if you would leave a podcast review. So until next time, my friend, keep flourishing and thriving and live your life to the